Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a great day. Today I'm going to be reacting to another video by Haminations called Being Homeschooled. I was never homeschooled growing up, so I can't relate. Let's be real though, I think lots of people from my generation and the younger generations view school as painfully outdated. So who knows, maybe being homeschooled was a blessing for Bryson. We'll find out soon enough. The link to Bryson's original video will be in the description below. Please like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get watching this. Ham Valley. This looks interesting.
Yeah!
Alright, this looks pretty fun. Can we all agree that most people when they were growing up had like little fantasies about flying planes? Or at least I think a good chunk of people did. I don't know if that's still the case for younger generations. You know, anyone out there who's watching this who has a little kid, let me know in the comments. Do they still like have little fantasies or pretend to be a pilot or a firefighter or anything like that? Like when we were kids? Let me know.
What's his deal? We don't know.
It's called an imagination.
He's a homeschooled kid.
Huh?
Oh. Hi, I'm Bryson.
Hey, Bryson.
And I was a homeschooled kid, and that explains a lot.
Rude.
How did I not see it earlier? See, told you. Thank you. Hey.
I don't see like why people have such like negative attitudes towards homeschooling. I mean, to me, it just makes a lot of sense because people should learn at home. You shouldn't have to go someplace far from home to try to learn things, especially if a lot of those things you don't end up applying. Like, how many of us actually use stuff we learned in history or calculus or, I don't know, earth sciences in our day-to-day life? I would say pretty much none of us. So at least being homeschooled, you're learning in a familiar environment and you're probably going to learn things that actually make some sense and that you can use. So cut it out with this negativity towards homeschooled kids, okay? It's just completely rude.
Rude. There's such an unfair stigma against homeschooled kids.
Exactly.
Everyone just thinks we're weird and cringe. But most homeschooled kids grow up to be well-adjusted members of society, and we're also usually smarter than average.
Really?
Usually. Weird homeschooled kid is a...
Oh man, I gotta look at that IQ again. The self-depreciation, hang on.
Most homeschooled kids grow up to be well-adjusted members of society, and we're also usually smarter than average. Usually. Weird homeschooled kid is a reductionist stereotype that puts people like me in little boxes.
Yeah.
You did pick the right box, though, I will admit. Looks like I do fit the stereotype there. Add it to the list right under dumb blonde.
Really?
I was homeschooled until the 6th.
You know, I never really thought of Bryson like that, though I guess he did kind of hint to it. Like, I think he talked about like his imagination and his smooth brain in a previous video that I saw a while ago, but I never viewed him as dumb.
Anyone out there who happens to be blonde, don't assume that you're dumb, okay? And don't assume that someone else is dumb just because they're blonde. That's just rude. There's no need for that these days.
Grade. And in all honesty, it was a great fit for me. According to this personality test I took, I am 96% introverted.
Okay.
So the calm of my home was a much better learning environment for me. My mom...
That's good. In a way, it totally makes some sense with his career choice too, because we all know the stereotypes of like people who do animations or YouTube stuff for a living. The idea is that they're introverts and just don't really get along socially, even though that's not necessarily the case, but it makes some sense in a way.
Even had me try public elementary school, and I really didn't like it.
Why?
Large crowds of people just inflict psychic damage on me or something. I'm
Love
pretty
the
shy
Pokemon
when getting
reference.
to know people, and then all of a sudden, boom, I become the silliest goose of all time. You can tell how comfortable I am around you based on how annoying I'm being.
Okay.
There's a direct correlation there.
That's good to know. And I think that can be like the case for lots of people who are introverted and just lots of people in general. The more comfortable you are with someone, the more likely you are just to let loose and be your completely off the rails wackadoo self. So if anyone's kind of like out there and just kind of seemingly annoying, they're typically just not trying to be annoying on purpose. They're just relaxed around you. So, you know, take that in stride if you can.
Because of this, I've always had a small but very close circle of friends that I really connect well with.
That's
but
good.
when I was young, I didn't know how to make friends. So I was
Relatable.
given a prepackaged, parent-approved circle of friends because
That's
our
nice.
moms were friends and they'd get together and let us Rugrats play. Hey guys, let's pretend we're wolves. Yeah!
Oh man, that's just funny and yet kind of weird at the same time. But I think that's a really good way to potentially make friends. If your parents happen to be friends with someone, they already have kids, it makes kind of sense for you to be friends with their kids. I'm not saying that you should only make friends this way. You should try to make friends yourself, like just by happy to talk to people. But still, this would make some sense, I would think.
Luckily, I grew out of this.
Okay.
Like some of you. My mom did a
Oh,
great job teaching me. She made learning fun with field trips and games, and the one-on-one teaching worked very well for me.
That's nice.
I couldn't do what she did. I'm horrified by how quickly my future kids' math homework will be beyond my knowledge. Instead of experiencing the rite of passage of crying at the
oh man, okay, really bad time to pause right here. Poor Bryson crying his head off. But it was nice to see that homeschooling has worked for Bryson and that he enjoyed how his mom taught him things. And I think that we can all learn from this.
Learning should be fun. Learning shouldn't be about tests or grades or textbooks, okay?
Learning should be enjoyable and it should just flow with day-to-day life. I mean, look at it this way. You don't have to take tests and look at books to learn how to like speak your native language or to walk or any of the basic stuff you do day to day, do you? So why should you learn anything like that? Learning should be fun. End of story.
kitchen table as their dad tries to help them with their math assignment,
Oh, no.
they'll have the unique experience of crying with their dad about the math assignment. What is 7 times 6? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know what it is.
Oh no.
I don't know.
Multi-generational trauma. It's so weird that, like, most of us, I would say a good chunk of us, probably can't do basic mathematics without, like, our phone or a calculator. Because, let's be honest, how often do you even use basic math in day-to-day life? Unfortunately, not very often, but I think just basic math is a skill most people should have, because it matters, when it comes to, like, paying bills or budgeting or anything involving money. You can't really worry about money without knowing some math.
Another thing that amazes me about my mom is that whenever we had to move, she would plan these amazing cross-country road trips and make
That's
a
nice.
vacation of it. We saw Mount Rushmore, Yellowstone, the Liberty Bell, Four Corners, Redwood National
Wow.
Parks, and all kinds of fun stuff.
I have never been to any of those places, and to be honest, it sounds like a really fun time. Anyone out there who has the privilege of going to like a national park or like some type of historic landmark, don't take it for granted, okay? There's some folks out there who don't have the privilege of doing that. And it can be really a great learning experience, learning about the history and about the, local ecosystems and stuff. So just try to enjoy it if you can.
I can't imagine planning a big trip like that while raising 5 kids, teaching them how to read and do math, feeding them, and keeping them from fighting. And
Wow.
to make things worse, she didn't even have GPS. She had
Yeah.
to print out directions from MapQuest and just pray that she wouldn't make a wrong turn and get lost.
Wow, that is dedication to be able to do that while having multiple children and like making sure, they're well fed and stuff and having to rely on MapQuest because it sounds like this was before GPS was really very common. So yeah, it sounds like Bryson's mom is like a borderline superhero. I think we could say that for pretty much all moms though, but especially moms and just parents in general. Parents who have multiple children, they're probably the closest things to like day-to-day average superheroes because think of all the stress that comes with raising multiple kids. That's intense. I don't think I could do it. So, hats off to anyone out there who has multiple kids and is doing a good job.
I could not have survived that. If there isn't a blue line showing me exactly where I need to go, I simply won't make it to my destination.
Oh no.
People often think that homeschooled kids are really good at math and science, but really bad at social interaction. Unfortunately, I'm just bad at both of them. And I
Oh.
know I'm not the only one who feels inadequate watching those documentaries about gifted kids. They're all like, at age 2, he was already speaking English and Spanish fluently. By age 6, he already graduated high school.
Ah, man, that has to be the worst. Like, not only, like, just being bad at both, like, socializing and math and science, but also when you have to watch this type of stuff, too, that, like, reinforces your own inadequacy, that's really just gotta be, like, a major punch to your psyche. Anyone out there who's dealing with, like, feelings of inadequacy regarding your intelligence, just don't worry about it, okay? Everyone is intelligent in their own way. There's no need to compare yourself to gifted kids, because let's be real, gifted kids are few and far between, so the chance you're actually going to interact with a gifted kid is relatively rare. At least I think it is. Anyway, just try to be the best you that you can be, and don't worry about comparing yourself to other people, okay? It'll just save you a lot of stress.
Valedictorian, and by age 10, he had a doctorate in neuroscience and astrophysics, and just last month, he earned a Nobel Prize. If someone made a documentary about me, it would be more like, at age 2, he finally learned to walk. By age 6, he learned how to not spill chocolate milk. And by age 10, he was already drawing silly little pictures. The only time I remember being good at something in real school was a geography test, because my mom taught me a handy song to remember all 50 states. And I was also good at Punnett squares. So, if both your parents have...
Well, that's nice. It's nice to see that, like, he had some, like, aptitude at some things in school. That he wasn't, like, completely bad at it. And the fact that his mom helped him learn something along the way. Anyone out there who has kids, try your best to help your kids learn. And try to make it fun. Because, you know, learning shouldn't be a chore. And you should always try to make things interesting and fun for your kids. Because learning shouldn't stop at any point in your life, and you should try your best to enjoy it.
AB positive blood type, you having the O negative blood type doesn't make sense. This means either you have a mutated gene, or your dad isn't really your dad.
Oh.
I may be a weird homeschool.
Oh no, Bryson, that was like one of the worst things you could do.
Shattering a schoolmate's total perception of reality life, man.
Spending more time at home definitely helped develop my creativity. I was an imaginative kid by nature, but having art supplies, books, and toys while having access to a big backyard definitely nurtured my imagination.
I think it's blatantly obvious that you were imaginative growing up, Bryson. I don't think anyone could have gotten to the career that Bryson's gotten to, or like any animator has gotten into, without being creative. I'm pretty sure that's like top trait that you need to have right there. You have to be creative, you gotta be spontaneous, and you gotta have a lot of energy, because there's no way you can be creative and be lethargic and actually pull something like this off. I just don't think you can do it.
I seriously used to go outside and just vividly hallucinate that I was on a magical adventure.
Okay.
And when my friends came over to play, we would get on the trampoline and one of them would say, pretend the trampoline is a spaceship and that we're astronauts. And so far as I was concerned, it was real.
Whoa.
Alright, cadets. Today we're gonna be doing hyperspace training. Be sure to follow all protocols before charting a course. Cadet Josh, take the wheel. Okay, I'll take us to the stuffed animal galaxy. Boop. You fool! We can't get to the stuffed animal galaxy directly. We'll have to make a detour in the petting zoo galaxy to avoid the cookie crumb ass.
Wow, this is intense. I mean, I don't think even when I was a kid, with my crazy ADHD brain, I don't think I had remotely the level of creativity during playtime as young Bryson did. So, gotta give him credit for that.
Asteroid belt. If we go straight there, the asteroids will destroy the ship. The controls are jammed. I can't turn it off. We're gonna crash. Everyone, get to an escape pod. The escape pods are locked. It's too late. You fool. You killed us all.
Wow, this is intense. Oh no.
Kids, you okay?
You know, that's a very good question. Are Bryson and his friends okay after coming up with that kind of crazy adventure?
You know, at least it looks like they didn't really get seriously hurt. So it's like kind of like a double-edged sword with this. You know, creativity is a good thing, being imaginative is a good thing, but I think if you take it too far, you know, potentially you or your friends could get hurt. So if you're crazy creative and crazy imaginative, you know, try to keep it in check if possible.
Did you see that the spaceship exploded and we're dead now, Mom?
No.
Oh, that's nice.
But my imagination did not stop there. I used to grab a bowl from the kitchen, go outside, gather an assortment of nature's finest materials into a bowl. Grass, leaves,
What, are you
herbs,
gonna eat
berries,
it?
you name it. And I would pretend I was brewing a magical potion.
Oh.
Mom, drink this. It'll turn you into a giraffe.
No thanks. I'll just stick with my sandwich.
Okay. Wow. Just trying to make your mom eat this potentially toxic concoction of random forest foodstuffs. Bryson, I admire your creativity, but that's going a little bit too far.
Fine, I'll drink it.
No,
Bryson,
don't.
don't.
Oh.
Wow, it really worked.
Oh boy. You know this has probably happened to at least probably a good handful of kids growing up. Eating stuff you shouldn't. Yeah, here's a little tip. Anyone out there who is interested in trying to find edible things out in the wild, make sure you know what you're eating. Because there are like berries and mushrooms and stuff that are potentially toxic or can cause like this crazy, trippy, hallucinogenic effect right here. And so just be careful, do your research, bring some field guides, know what you're doing. Don't just, eat whatever you find outside. It typically won't always end well. Oh no, ugh.
Having a powerful imagination was a good thing in many ways, but this
Good.
also meant that I was scared very easily. Taking
Okay.
the trash out in the dark felt like a life or death experience. I was
Oh.
convinced that an evil clown or alien would kill me if I didn't do it as fast as I could.
Wow.
And of course, when I turned out the last light in the house, I had to run to my room as fast as I could so that a shadow demon wouldn't catch me.
Okay, that potentially could seem like it would cause problems all by itself. Running in your home in the middle of the night in the dark. You could easily just trip over something and fall and potentially hurt yourself. So, anyone out there who's afraid of the dark, don't run in the dark, okay? Just bring a flashlight, use your cell phone as a light, and just, walk to your room, okay? Getting to your bed quickly is not worth potentially injuring yourself, okay? It's just not.
Even as an adult, I avoid horror movies. It's just not worth
Okay.
it to me. I'd rather be happy and sleep well. But
Alright, honestly, I can relate to Bryce with that, but it's specifically with, like, gory horror movies that I can't stand. I mean, if they're just kind of actually scary horror movies, I could probably watch that. But if it's, like, excessively gory, people getting ripped apart, or tortured, I can't handle that. I'll just turn off the movie or watch something else. I personally can't do it. Let me know, anyone out there watching this, are you a big horror movie fan? And what type of horror do you like? Do you like the actually scary type, or do you prefer the more gory, bloody type? Let me know.
I wasn't just susceptible to scary things in movies. I also fell victim to fear-mongering stories designed to make me more obedient
Like
from
what?
my parents.
This is Santa. If you're a good boy, he'll give you a present at Christmas.
Awesome!
And this is the boogeyman. If you're a bad boy and disobey us,
Oh,
he'll
no.
kill you. Slowly and painfully, he'll violently rip your
Jeez.
arms off and use them to bash your head in.
No. Bryson's dad, that was a horrible thing to do. You should not have to borderline traumatize your children to get them to listen to you, okay? You should just try to be patient and understanding with them and explain to them why they should and shouldn't do certain things. You shouldn't try to make these borderline demonic creatures pop into their minds and think, oh yeah, this is definitely gonna happen to you. Don't give them crazy stories like that. That's just not gonna be useful at all. Aww, you made him cry.
My dad really told me that if I played too many games on the GameCube, that it would take over my mind and I'd never be able to stop playing.
Oh.
This scared me to my core, and it's the reason I didn't start playing a lot of video games until I was 14.
Alright, I mean, that's kind of messed up, but in a way, it kind of makes sense. I mean, look what happens when you watch too many videos on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. If you get so much of that instant gratification, it does kind of mess with your brain a little bit. It kind of lowers your attention span, and it just makes you seek out more cheap entertainment, and it can be addicting. It won't completely take over your mind. You can still do other stuff. You can still remember, to eat and bathe and stuff. But still, it can be difficult. So anyone out there who is spending way too much time on social media or just your laptop or whatever, schedule breaks. Make sure you put your mental health and your physical health before just cheap entertainment, okay? Just take care of yourself.
But there is something to be said about how good it was for me to play outside all the time. I
Yeah.
am grateful that I didn't fry all my dopamine receptors with an iPad at age 5.
Yeah.
Instead, I spent my time in glorious nature eating dirt. Having fictional fears that never came true was one thing, but even the real life stuff that I was scared of never came true.
Like what?
I honestly thought I would be on fire way more than 0 times. What's
Why?
the point of knowing stop, drop, and
Yeah, I mean, stop, drop, and roll seems to be helpful, but yeah, how often in day-to-day life is just your average person on fire? I would say practically never. Unless you happen to be living in an area where wildfires are common, or like there's a high level of arsony, you're almost never going to be on fire. I mean, it's good information to have, but it potentially could make you paranoid. Like, it seems to have made Bryson paranoid, at least.
roll if I never get to use it?
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
Quicksand, tornadoes, the Bermuda Triangle, and piranhas haven't been an issue either. What I should have been scared of was housing prices and taxes. No one warned me about that. When I
Tell it like it is, Bryson. It's so crazy that, like, especially it seems like here in the States, and I'm guessing other industrialized countries, it seems like the housing market is going insane. And things are costing more now than they ever did. And it seems like taxes are going more too. But of course, it's hard to tell. I'm not an economist. I mean, that's just what everyone says online. So it might be true. But still, it's so weird how the most random things you're scared of, and yet the things that are actually really prevalent in daily life, you don't really understand or have a healthy respect or fear of them until you get older. I think more kids should be aware of the stuff they're going to have to face into adulthood so they can prepare for it.
was 5, I was wasting my time watching Thomas the Tank Engine when I should have been investing in real estate. I probably could have purchased this house for 6 Lincoln Logs and a stick of gum.
Wow.
But now it costs $2 million. I'm such an idiot. But I digress. Plus, I'm not dead yet. The quicksand and tornadoes still have a chance to get me. While it
I just gotta see that again real quick. Hang on.
for 6 Lincoln Logs and a stick of gum. But now it costs $2 million. I'm such an idiot.
No, you're
but
not.
I digress. Plus, I'm not dead yet. The quicksand and tornadoes still have a chance to get me.
Oh, what a horrible way to go.
Thinking you're gonna die from natural disaster, then boom, vehicle impact, dead.
That's just so messed up, and yet, in this context, it's funny.
While at school, my house, my
Yeah.
teacher, my mom,
Yeah.
would give me writing assignments. One of
Okay.
these assignments requested that I write a sentence with at least 50 letters in it. But
Okay.
I decided that was too hard. So to make it easier on myself, I wrote this. Look, Mom, it has 50 letters, just like you said. Even then, I was such a creative problem solver.
I mean, technically he's not wrong. You have to admire the creativity, you know? It's like, it was the way that she didn't expect, but it technically got the job done. So, give Bryson a little bit of credit.
But for some reason, my mom called it cheating. My
Yeah?
mom even sent me to this art class at this lady's house with my friends. And she
Okay.
gave us all kinds of fun projects like paper mache, watercolors, and collages, etc.
Okay,
I'm so
sounds good.
glad I developed a love of art at such a young age because art is such an amazingly fulfilling hobby, and I'm so lucky to be able to do it as a job. And
Yeah.
now I have an amazing superpower. I can imagine anything I want and
You know, that is so true. Imagine if Bryson hadn't been introduced to art when he was so young, then in theory he might not have been an animation YouTuber. Who knows how his future could have turned out if he hadn't been exposed at such an early age and it hadn't been so enjoyable. So, good job, Bryson's mom. Good job, art teacher lady.
make it real by drawing it. See? But one of my art projects backfired badly.
How
I
so?
decided that the next time I visited my friends, that I wanted us all to pretend that we were Sonic characters.
Understandable,
My brother
okay.
Brody had shown me how to draw Sonic, so I drew a bunch of Sonics with different props and different colors.
All right.
I basically drew a bunch of Sonic OCs. Do not steal. And I
Alright.
wanted to staple the papers together into a book so that I could bring it to my friend's house and we could all pick which one we wanted to pretend to be.
That's nice.
I grabbed the stapler and...
Oh, man, that's just gotta be the worst. Like, any type of pain that involves your hands or your fingers, that's gotta be like one of the top tier pains you can experience because they have like a really high concentration of nerve endings. So that's just gotta, oof. That's gotta hurt like no one's business. You know, I'm surprised this one didn't make it into the pain video that he made, like, I think, what was it, about a year ago or so? Or maybe longer than that. I reacted to it relatively recently. So, this should have been an honorable mention.
I stapled it directly onto my thumb. And at that moment, I finally understood why cartoon injuries were animated like this. Because that's how it felt.
Yeah.
Your finger has a heartbeat.
Like I said earlier, it was fun to play with the other homeschooled kids. But a frustrating part was that I was usually the one to pitch the game that we should play next.
Okay, what's wrong
and
with
it
that?
usually went something like this. How about we play tag? No. How about we play wizards? No. How
Come
about
on,
we play hide
kids.
and go seek? I'll only play if Jenna plays. I'll only play if Rachel plays. I'll only play if Josh plays. Please just say yes, Josh. Everything is riding on you. I don't want to play. But then...
That's so frustrating, but it is like that though, no matter how old you are, whether you're just a kid playing with other kids, or you're college students or older trying to organize an event, there's always going to be someone that throws a wrench into the works. Hold on, what's the expression? Throw a monkey wrench into the works. Yeah, someone's always going to mess it up. And it's frustrating no matter how old you are or how young you are. So, anyone out there who's trying to socialize with their friends and things just don't work out, don't take it personally. Just go with the flow and try to schedule something else.
It was time to move again. I said goodbye to my friends, we did another cross-country road trip, and arrived at our new house in California.
All right.
I made some new friends in the neighborhood, and it was time for me to take on public school.
All right.
And I hated it.
Oh.
But it's okay to hate things. It builds character. Plus, my grades were really good if we're going by golf rules. And having my friends with me made it a lot easier.
Good.
And now I am a very well-rounded, well-adjusted, socially adept young man.
All right. Oh man, I swear, like just this little frame right here, it reminds me of me when I was growing up. I was not the most socially outgoing person, and I would just more often than not just either be in the corner or just maybe talking to like one or two people that I knew well. Randomly starting conversation, not my strong suit at all.
Yeah, me and my cousin were hanging out, and we built a Lego set the other day.
All right, so it's,
You like Lego? I love Legos. Did you know that Lego was invented in 1932 in Denmark by a man named Ole Kurt Christiansen?
I didn't know
Originally,
that.
they were just wooden toys, but eventually they started making interlocking plastic bricks to create a system in which all their toys could be linked together. Despite
okay, this honestly can seem kind of relatable too. It really sounds like this is almost info dumping. If you guys don't know what info dumping is, it's something that happens like when autistic people and otherwise neurodivergent people are really passionate about something and they share lots of random information about their interest or about something they know in an attempt to try to connect and socialize with people. Now, non-autistic people can info dump too, and some, like, neurotypical people can do it too, but it's really common among neurodivergent people. So, I mean, if Bryson is neurodivergent in some way, it wouldn't surprise me. So, I'm glad this is kind of relatable.
hardships, including their factory burning down, Ole and his family persevered and continued to manufacture the unique brick system. Then in 1978, the Lego minifigures we know
Back
was
way
created.
slowly.
Minifigures are a high-value collector's item. In fact,
Wow.
a recent study showed that buying Lego sets was a better investment than the stock market because of how well they know their
Really?
value. This means that buying and building Lego sets isn't just a fun hobby, it's a smart way to use your money.
Oh man, they just left within 20 seconds of this. And what do you want to bet the whole room will be empty? The info dumping just expanded beyond its boundaries and now everyone has left. I have a feeling this is where it's going to be going. Yep, called
Guys,
it.
Thanks for watching.
Guys, that was another video by Bryson. Excellent video. Not very relatable personally, but still very funny, very enlightening. And let me know in the comments below. Were you homeschooled or do you know anyone who was homeschooled? And what was the educational experience like? Did you enjoy it? Was it frustrating? And let me know, do you think that people who are homeschooled are at a disadvantage compared to people who go to the public educational system? Let me know what you think. And if you have any other future recommendations for haminations, video reactions, let me know in the comments below. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.